you trying to plan an Italian wedding without a wedding planner? Well, it can be done, and in this video I'm going to tell you how. Ciao, I'm Lucy. I'm an Italian wedding planner. I've planned over 200 weddings in Italy, and I've also founded Lista.com. Every week I'm here with clear and practical advice to help you plan your Italian wedding with ease. You can help me in my mission by subscribing or commenting below. So first I'm going to bust a myth that wedding planners are expensive or a luxury thing to have in your budget. There is absolutely no doubt that a wedding planner, and the right wedding planner, will save you time, money and energy in your wedding. They will save you from making mistakes, and if it can be afforded in your budget, it should really be a priority and a consideration. There are 3 things that really influence how your wedding turns out. One is your venue, one is your catering, and one is whether you have a planner or not. But I really do understand that a planner sometimes just does not fit within a budget, or couples don't want to work with planners, and I'm going to talk through how you can plan your Italian wedding now without a planner. Everything that I say in this episode though does apply to couples who also do use wedding planners, so listen up. There are 5 must-do things if you're trying to plan an Italian wedding without a planner, and the first one is get trustworthy information. You can never be informed enough when planning an Italian wedding, but you have to balance this with finding information from the right sources, equally not overdoing it and bombarding yourselves with information, because there is so much noise out there. I would advise using the following places or situations to get that information. The first one is obviously our website, Lista.com. Lista.com is invented to help you. Its pure intention is to get you information that you need, trustworthy, clear advice and information, so that you can navigate this Italian wedding planning. There are other directories out there, and they're great. They're a good way to source information and other suppliers, but most directories exist to make money. So they're going to put anyone that they want on that directory because they're paying to be there. So there's no kind of quality control. With La Lista, we quality control everything, and we only put on suppliers and venues that we know are excellent and that we have worked with ourselves in my personal wedding planning. The second place to get good information is from wedding planners. Planners have basically their ear to the ground on everything to do with Italian weddings. They are connected to huge networks. They have huge amounts of information coming into them every single day. You need to think of them as probably the most up-to-date people in the whole industry, because they are talking to networks of suppliers all the time and getting all of that information coming back in. So they are a central place and point that can give you clear and up-to-date information. Obviously, you need to find and choose the right planners to talk to, because everyone will be slightly different, but once you find those sources, stick to them. And the other place to get good information is from couples. So couples that are either planning their wedding or that have already had a wedding and use some of the suppliers that you're considering or the venue that you are getting married at. There's Facebook groups out there, including the La Lista one that's got over 800 couples in right now. Even Instagram, if you spot that a couple have got married at your venue, why not just DM them and see if they are willing to give you any advice or feedback on working at that venue. Slight caveat to this is obviously everyone has their own perspective on things, and couples that are in the middle of planning weddings haven't actually had their wedding yet, so they don't know for sure exactly how that's going to go and turn out, and they won't be able to give you kind of a full review of everything. Even couples that have got married already, just remember that everyone has very different tastes, different budgets, and wants different things from their wedding. So like a review on booking.com, everyone's coming from their own perspective of what they expect that service or product to be, so just take everything with a slight pinch of salt. So if you're planning your own Italian wedding, the second thing to do is to be really organised. Now, it's likely that if you've taken this on yourself, you are an organised type of person, and planning an Italian wedding is essentially a big project. It makes sense, in my mind, to make a good project plan. If you've never made one of these before, you can check out, we've got a download on La Lista, which is called the Ultimate Wedding Tracker, and it has all the steps that we would advise taking in planning an Italian wedding. The steps are there and the timeline isn't. So what you could do is look at your wedding over time and just populate when you might do things. This is a really nice way to break the wedding down, feel some element of control over it, but also make it calmer so you know what you're going to do when. Knowing what all of these items are and all the things you've got to do throughout planning can help make the whole experience better, and you will enjoy it more. The third thing to do if you're planning your own wedding is to learn how to be decisive. Now this is quite hard because when you're planning an Italian wedding, you can feel a little bit removed from the situation that you're in, and you've got to work out how you get enough information to be able to make the right decisions for you. So I think this comes down to a few things. The first thing is, what do you actually want? So being really clear on what you want, and then getting the information as to who can achieve that for you. So I want a certain type of band. What bands are out there? Do the research on them. Finding out whether they are actually good bands, get some reviews on them, understand what they're going to be like, and also what they cost. And with all of those factors together, plugged into your overall wedding plan and budget, you will be then able to determine whether A, they fit with the style of wedding that you're creating, and B, whether they fit within your budget. So learning how to make those decisions and what you need to be able to trust yourself to make them and trust the suppliers that you're booking is vital, and that comes back to the information that we talked about earlier. The next thing you need to nail is your budget. Having a really good budget estimate from the start is just going to make your planning so much better and also help make those decisions that I just mentioned. So you can set a budget by simply getting the template on our website. It details everything that you might need to consider to put into your budget from the start. You can then visit our website, Lista.com, which has suppliers and venues actually priced up. So you can quite easily look for example, you can find your taste in photographer, see what sort of price we're talking about there, and then plug that into your budget. So you can slowly build up this really good, accurate budget estimate. Another thing that might help you get your budget estimate a little bit more accurate is to talk to a wedding planner. As I said, they're kind of ear to the ground, they know what things are costing, and right now as I'm talking in 2022, prices have been going up across all services and all suppliers after COVID. So getting the most up-to-date costs of things is really going to help you get that accurate budget right. If you've got that accurate budget nailed, then when you come to make each decision on a supplier, you will know that you have the money to do so. You know that you have £3,000 in which to book a photographer. You will only be able to look at photographers that are within that budget, and that quickly reduces that overwhelm that I mentioned right at the start. Instead of having a list of 100 photographers, most of which are going to be under or over your budget, maybe even the wrong style, you're really honed in on what you want in terms of style, but also what you can actually afford. And the final thing to do if you're planning your own wedding is to get some support. There are lots of different levels of support out there, and I'm just going to run through a few of them. So the first thing is your friends and family. So it's likely that your friends and family will want to get involved and support you. Sometimes this is a good thing, sometimes it's not. But you will know who you can rely on to do certain jobs, and just delegate some. It will make your life a lot easier if you delegate some of the jobs, and obviously good delegation comes from giving a really clear brief and a really good time frame, so a deadline. If you manage those things, then you should be able to utilise the amazing friends and family that you've got around. Other support can come in other couples, which I mentioned right at the start. If you do join any forums or groups, you'll probably connect with some couples. You might even make quite close friendships with some of them that are going through the same thing. And this support can just be a shoulder to lean on if things get a little bit tough or if things get a little bit confusing. You just got someone else who's in the same shoes and probably wants to talk about the wedding planning as well. And then there's wedding planners. Now, I know that you might not want a wedding planner, or you might not be able to afford a full planning service from the type of planner that you want, but there are other levels of support that are worth investigating. So different planners offer different things, but some typical services could be finding your venue. The venue is one of the biggest decisions of your planning, and it can have such an impact on your overall wedding and your budget. So getting this right is just absolutely fundamental to how your wedding planning and your wedding is going to go. So investing in someone to help you find that venue, take you on a trip, show you around the venue if you can't get there, and help navigate some of that setup with the venue. So I myself know sometimes it can be really complicated, even just to get the information you need and sign a contract with the venue. So handing that all over to someone else at the start could be really helpful. and really affordable. Other planners offer partial planning, which can involve finding some of the suppliers for you and being there on the wedding day to run everything and manage how it goes. Other planners offer day management service, which can involve briefing your suppliers, putting together the timeline of the day and making sure that your day goes really smoothly. So just being there for every supplier to come to and making sure that everything goes to the plan that you will have created. Yes, friends and family can sometimes do that role of managing the day, but really honestly, it is not that nice for them. They want to be involved, they want to help you, but I've seen recently when family members have been delegated some tasks on the day, even as simple as passing around a guest book through the dinner. One guest was so stressed about it, she had to make sure she went to every single table and that everyone had taken a picture and signed the guest book. And she didn't enjoy the meal at all. I saw her, she had to keep getting up and down. She wasn't able to get in the zone. So having other people to do these jobs for you can really make a difference, not just to you and how the day flows as you know it is meant to be, but actually how your guests experience your wedding as well. And the other thing you could consider is consultancy. So some planners offer just 1 hour phone calls where you can have a chat about any kind of tough decisions that you're finding. You could build a budget, you could talk about styling and have a styling consultation, or you could talk about any kind of problems that you're facing or having. And the planner is there to listen and help advise you in the right direction. And this is usually just 1 hour and it has a minimal cost, and it can really have an impact on how you're feeling overall about your wedding, but equally how to move things forward in the right direction. The other thing to say on this is just to trust yourself. If you are navigating planning your own wedding, something that I tried to do myself many years ago, it can be challenging. You know what you want, and if you listen to the right people, get the right information, you'll be able to craft the most amazing wedding day. And if at any point you find it a little bit tricky or get stuck, just like I did, it's about asking the right people for the right help at the right times. And there's no shame in at any point trying to reach out and find a little bit of support if you need it. You don't have to do all of it alone. And the likelihood is if you did try to, you're going to have a tough experience throughout planning, but also on your wedding day, you're going to be so close to all the details, you might not actually be able to be fully in your day. So really just think hard about what levels of support you might be able to have and what you want from your day. So I've mentioned lots of tools in this episode that you can download from our website, also our Facebook group, and all of these links will be below in the comments. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Remember that I'm always cheering you on in your Italian wedding planning, and it's my mission to help as many people as possible have a really enjoyable time. If you want more of these videos, just hit subscribe below and I'll be here every single week. Thank you very much. I'll see you next week.